He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
We are back. Angry Mortgage is back on the air, which shows you how fucking old I am because nobody says on the air anymore at all. Okay.
Really?
No one says that.
I say it. Does that mean I'm old?
No, you're not old, Fran.
Nah,
You are
okay.
definitely not old. Francis HINOJOSA, Tribe Financial, 3-time guest, 2-time guest,
Third
guest, third-time
guest.
guest. Welcome back, Fran.
Thanks.
And it's there's a lot going on in the world today. Let me tell you, there's a lot. We first of all, why are we wearing glasses? But you can choose to wear glasses. I mean,
I chose to wear glasses to mirror you because, and also as well, I think what we're going to talk about today takes a higher level of intellect. And I feel when you wear glasses, you look smarter.
do you feel smarter?
I do feel smarter. It's called the alter ego. It's my alter ego.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Like
it's my alter ego wearing the
smarter.
glasses. And you put yours on.
I put mine on for a more specific reason. 2 reasons. Number one, I'm having a little bit of a time seeing the show notes. We have show notes at a different part of the studio that I got to look at. And I think I've got an eye infection or a sty or something. Anyway, one of my eyes looks a little fucked up. So we're going to try to.
You don't want to tell the truth that we got into an argument before and I may or may not have, done a sucker punch. No, I didn't do that, audience. I would
Fran,
never
you
do
and
that.
I would never get in a fist fight.
That's true.
But I just come back from a mortgage broker conference in Montreal.
That could have happened there.
Where the availability of a fist fight amongst drunken brokers is available. That's a fact.
I conveniently missed it this year. But I do know what you mean. Sometimes alcohol can get in the way of judgment.
Yeah, I had a brokerage owner who's a dear friend tell me that on the way to the airport, she said, if I have to do this fucking bullshit of arranging for first aid for some broker who's done a face plant on a concrete floor because he was so fucking drunk he just about mangled himself. This is not my fucking job to babysit fucking brokers at my brokerage. Anyway, it's so. But what is it about conferences and drunkenness that seem to go out of town?
I don't know, but I also believe, I think the level of mischief and behavior and drunkenness also depends on how good or bad the current market conditions are, right? Like some people drown their sorrows in extra alcohol, and when it's free and you have these events and it's an open bar, well, if they haven't been able to make the revenue all year to buy their own, it's a free for all.
It's all true. I say to every lender the same thing. A mortgage broker will drive 6 hours for a free drink.
Of course.
Every fucking time.
Right.
Every time.
Not all. I didn't.
Many will.
Many will.
Many will. I've seen guys drive from Thunder Bay to Toronto because there's a free drink at a mortgage event that night. So I have seen it. And every single lender agrees with me.
Okay.
It's open bar means brokers will drive for 6 hours.
I wonder if they ever statistically looked at it and saw if their bills go up depending on the current mortgage market environment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Good years, bad years. Maybe good years they celebrate a bit too much. Bad years they're drowning their sorrows.
So it might equal out.
Yeah,
Drowning
might
sorrow,
go out.
It just might be steady
exactly.
state.
Steady Eddie.
By the way,
okay.
I want to say this about Montreal. I love Montreal.
It's beautiful.
I love Montreal.
I agree.
Because nobody knows this. Absolutely nobody knows this who's ever seen the show. But I love to eat.
Oh.
Nobody would guess it. Okay. And the food in Montreal is fucking fantastic.
The best globally.
We've had there was a lot of great things. Our friends at TD Bank, when they were running on the convention floor, they in their particular booth area, because that's the usual stuff. There's trade shows and everything. And like every convention on earth, there's a trade show. And they brought in the smoked meat sandwiches from the Schwartz Deli.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, that is good.
Was the lineup large?
Well, no, because there's ample supply, and it's, there's brokers who walk past who are from, northern BC who've never known the Schwartz, so they don't know. But for the Montreal people, they were diving all over it, and Ron was diving at it. Like I thought it was fantastic. So thank you, TD, for that. Everybody, everybody put on a great show. Scotia had a wonderful cocktail party. TD had a wonderful cocktail party. These are all off-site. There was so many people. Home Trust. Who else? CMLS had George St. Pierre at their event.
Okay.
So shout out to that. He's doesn't work for free, right? I mean,
right.
And I guess if you don't know the UFC, it doesn't really make any fucking difference. But
you notice when I said okay, I was like, okay.
Two things: if you're a UFC fan,
right,
or you live in Montreal,
right,
because George is a Montrealer,
okay.
If those two things happen, like you live in Montreal and you're a Quebecer, and you are a UFC fan, he is basically the god of Quebec. He is Quebec Jesus. Okay, George St. Pierre. Right?
Awesome. So what did you do? Knock out a few brokers there that were at hand?
Nah, two things. Everybody loves George St. Pierre because he's a good guy. And number two, everybody is still fucking terrified of George St. Pierre.
Okay.
So, I would not even look the wrong direction at him. He's still in great shape.
So CMLS brought him in to scare the brokers straight and send business to them?
Like I said, if you're a fan, he's like a god. He is a term. He was the
So we're talking the conference was, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Drunken brawls in the street. Alcohol. Wait.
I don't think there was a brawl there. I can't say.
Let me keep going. Let me keep going with this.
Yeah.
Face plants in the street.
Face plant,
alcohol.
Yes,
face plants in the street. Alcohol, meat, and UFC. Sounds like a dude conference.
It's a sausage fest. No, I'm just kidding.
There was a little bit.
Look, I give the conference some credit. There was some tremendous in the breakout sessions. There were terrific women presenting.
Mm-hmm.
The Tara Borling and Jill Mayring out of Alberta put on a great session. They're terrific people,
and they are wonderful.
There's a lot of great presenters. I'm not really a big person on the sort of motivational speakers because I'm 67, so the motivation is fucking gone from me. Okay, I am absent of motivation. Okay, that's it.
Don't tell me to climb Mount Everest. Never happening.
No,
we're
not
good.
Not happening. Yep. Dare to be great, and when you're over 50, dude, I'm fucking there. Okay, so I've
made it.
That's all gone. So anyhow, it was a great weekend, and it was and CMLS put on a great event. I'm just trying to think of all the events I was at, and
Scotia.
That was a great party. They had a very elegant place,
of course,
a very nice place they put on. And hey, look, I just guys finish by saying this. There's a lot of great mortgage lenders in Canada who are supportive of mortgage brokers, and we appreciate you. It's as simple as that.
Very nicely said.
We do. We really appreciate you, and like 99% of the time, you guys are very nice to us. And as I said, mortgage broker drive 6 hours for a free drink, so that's a fact.
That's okay.
All right, news. We got news. So, had a U.S. jobs report just last week, late last week.
Yep.
And it's not good.
Okay.
It's not. Now everybody tries to. If you're like a bear, you want to see. Look at this. Jobs are going to. I told you so. Jobs are finally falling off.
Right.
U.S. economy finally contracting. If you're a bull, you say no, stupid. Like there was two hurricanes and stuff. I mean, it's temporary. Don't talk about it.
I saw that too. Yep.
So, look, we all just gotta realize that. There's going to be some jobs problems. Fran, we were talking about this at lunch.
Yes.
There's going to be jobs issues just out of AI.
Of course there is.
Of course there is.
And not even that. Let's be honest. That jobs report is for what? September?
It's old. Yeah. But actually, it's a revision. They keep revising.
No, it's fine. But I'm just saying it's the fall, right? It's basically the jobs report.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most companies, your year end has just happened. Some are, follow the banks. October 31st. No, today's the New Year. Happy New Year to all our Canadian banks.
That's right. This was Happy New Year for the banks.
Today's November 1st, and it's Happy New Year. All the Canadian banks. Today's their New Year.
Banks. That's right.
Most consumers don't realize that. It's not January 1st, their New Year. It's November 1st.
Right.
A lot of the other companies are heading into the last few months of the year. We already saw, I don't know if you saw that news report, Manulife just laid off 250 people. That was just yesterday, I think it was. I think you're going to, I hate to say this, but you're going to see more layoffs trending moving forward over the next couple of months. If you want me to do any, I know you don't like predictions, but you know, if you think about it logically, the way companies are run is at the end of the year, they're sitting there saying, okay, did we make enough profit? We didn't. What can we do to make more profit? And traditionally with companies, in order to make more profit, they'd rather cut staff, right? And jobs, if they can consolidate or amalgamate and do other things. So I think you're going to start to see more of that come to fruition as the months go on.
So Intel, the chip maker, previously laid off 16,000 people worldwide, and they just announced last week they're going to lay off another 12,000.
Right.
Now, a bunch of that is AI, because at Intel, they don't produce the AI chips. So they're in a little different market situation, but hey, folks, when we talk, I'll just say this again as I mean this as a help, not as a negative. If you work at a call center, if you were a call center worker in Canada or any fucking where, in India, in the Philippines, wherever you are, retrain now, okay? That's the first place AI is coming, is that.
It's already there in the U.S.
Yeah.
We talked about that with the mortgage companies that are down there. They're already testing out AI. There's one company, I think they've named her Becky, that can answer phone calls to a consumer calling in for inquiries on the mortgage.
Yeah, like things like payment changes, balances, all that type of thing.
Easy stuff, just initial phone calls. So that in turn, then you don't need the same amount of people to be doing their job. But you're absolutely right, Ron. AI is coming, and it's coming fast. It's going to replace a lot of people.
You know what the wild part is, Fran? Even though the AI chips are very expensive, even though the energy use is very high, the actual cost of using it is fucking cheap.
Of course.
You know, we've looked at we're involved in some tests ourselves right now as a company. My little tiny company is involved in some tests.
Little tiny company.
And it is. I never pretend this is a big company. Okay, it's there's much bigger companies than ours in the mortgage brokerage business, but wow, I mean, it's shocking. You know, the functions it can take over.
You know what? You say shocking. I say it's cool. Like we're very much the same with our company. I'm all in on AI with our company. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited.
It's not fucking cool if you're laid off. Okay.
It is not cool when you're laid off, but then that means, like, to your point, you have to evolve with the evolving times and figure out what now, what next, right? There's always constant evolution.
I think it's too late for some of these call center people to become data stack people or programmers or whatever you want to say.
Hey, anything's possible the way I look at it. But don't fall asleep at the wheel. Like if you're in a position right now,
you're working in a call center
or anywhere, if you're in a position where you think possibly AI can replace your role, I would say to you, now's the time to revisit where your own personal skills can come into play and pivot.
Because it's coming sooner than people think. All right, going back to the terrible jobs report in the U.S., which, again, people will argue, no, you're wrong, it's not so terrible, but I'm going to call it lousy anyway. When you expect an adjustment up and you get an adjustment down, or there's a 113,000 job variance, that's not good, right? Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
So what does this do for us in the mortgage industry? What it tells us is the worry that many people faced and the pushback I get on discussions about the Bank of Canada continuing to reduce its key rate, went down 50. It's coming again on December 11th.
Yep.
There's going to be another announcement. It'll either be another 50. I'm not sold on that. Definitely 25. It's going to happen. The worry is always that if we get too far ahead of the U.S., in terms of the U.S. Federal Reserve, we call it the Fed, cutting, get too far ahead, our dollar goes to ratchet, and it has. Dollar's gone down a cent in the last 2 weeks.
Isn't it the worst it's been in what, a decade?
No, just since 2000.
Okay.
Or it's pretty. Yeah, I can't remember, but it's not a decade. It's like years, but not a decade. But I'm the worst guy to ask, right? Because I vividly remember a 60-cent dollar.
Right.
When
so do I.
That's all it was worth. I mean, if you went to vacation in the United States, you just didn't go. You had to go somewhere where it wasn't. You had to Mexico.
Right.
You had to find somewhere where there's a different currency. Okay. And a cauliflower was $80 or something. I don't know. Anyway, in the winter.
Yeah.
So look. That's an issue because the Bank of Canada is very conscious of the fact that if the dollar drops too much, then inflation goes up, right? Because that's food inflation and a lot of other items come in as priced in U.S. dollars. But lousy jobs report gives the U.S. Federal Reserve, who's Jerome Powell, they call him J-Powell. If you're in the know, you call him like he's.
Are you in the know? You
I'm
guys
not
buds?
Fucking in the know.
You're
at
like
all,
JP.
Okay?
Do you shorten it down even more?
He is so different than Tiff Macklin at the Bank of Canada. He looks fucking tough. Like he looks like if you transported him back in time to Dodge City, he would have a fucking badge on his chest and he'd be ready to shoot fuckers effortlessly. Okay.
So
he's a tough looking hombre.
So if there was an all out fist fight, you'd be picking him instead of Tiff in the ring.
Tiff, no, fuck. Tiff never gets in the ring. He just runs. Tiff ran for the exit like 20 minutes ago. Okay, I got to get out of here. I don't want to fight with J-Paul. He's a tough looking hombre, that Jerome Powell. But anyway, this gives him room to cut on his side,
right?
And as long as the cuts can synchronize in a decent way, then the Canadian dollar does not get destroyed. I'm not saying it's going to be great because we have this hellacious, shitty productivity in Canada. That's hard to get. We have this terrible GDP. So, look, we're going to take a bit of a hit, but as long as the U.S. Fed drops, the central bank in Europe drops, we're going to keep dropping. It's as simple as that. So we will. My belief is consistent. Nothing's changed. We will eventually get to variable rates in Canada sometime next year, sometime late spring. Variable rates will start with a 3. We'll have a bunch of them.
I agree. And I think, you've heard me say this before. I like to say rates need to normalize because I think when we use the word drop, and you and I talked about this in lunch, is human beings were very short-sighted on our mindset and what we remember. And then you say drop, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, rates are going to be back to 2%, sub 2. Like, no. Rates are going to normalize. We got to get to a normalized environment. Everything you're saying, I absolutely agree. The issue is, and what most consumers don't understand with this stuff is how delicate of a dance it is to bring the rate down. Yes, inflation is sitting below 2, but they can't sit there and ratchet the rate back down to pre-pandemic interest rates for the overnight rate because there's too many other collateral damage or ramifications that can have to the economy that can change things around and turn around the other way. Yeah. So it's like walking a tightrope.
Yep, and also, let's face it, there's a lot of criticism of central banks, even in a worldwide plague. There is still criticism of banks going so low for so long. Central banks around the world, like if the interest rates were too low for too long, created all kinds of anomalies that aren't good. So the chances, folks, just as Fran just said, we got to get it out there. If you expect a rate that starts with a 2, you are wrong.
You have to readjust your expectations.
100%. There is going to be no rate next year that starts with a 2.
Barring any, come on, your favorite line.
My favorite line is geopolitical event. So it is barring unbelievable war, disaster, which, by the way, can also
aliens coming from space,
or from Vancouver. Okay, just one. Anyway,
we're not going there.
I'm still waiting for. Anyway, so we're not going there. We've all agreed we're not going there. So yes, barring major geopolitical event, we expect this cycle to continue downwards. And as we've said before, and Fran knows this, how many years have you been in this mortgage business, Fran?
About 30.
30 years. Fran started when she was 12, part-time.
I know. So, you know what? I saw my, I'll call her my esthetician this week.
Okay.
And she said that my skin looks like a 30-year-old. I'm like, I know, because I am, but I'm not.
I don't see an esthetician.
I got a very important milestone happening in January. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't say anything.
Yeah, we won't. It's okay. I'm not bashful, but yes, 30 years. We're going to digress because
30 years, and I'm almost 30 years. I'm 29, going to be 30 in the new year.
Of course.
we've seen a lot, and the bottom line is that, variable is supposed to be, for the whole time we've been in the business, a lower rate than a fixed rate, because you're taking on the risk as the borrower, right?
Right.
So it should always be fit. When you have a fixed rate, the bank took on the risk, right? And it has to be paid for appropriately. So what we will see is we will probably see a fixed rate below 4, but it won't be much below 4. And everybody waiting for a fixed rate in the 2s also wrong.
No.
Not happening. Okay.
Well, put it into context. The average 5-year fixed rate pre-pandemic in January was about 3.99, 3.89.
That's right. Correct.
Right. So to me, in my
And
mind,
it just cracked. Some had cracked 4. Just cracked 4.
Just cracked 4.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that is a normalization of interest rates.
100%.
That should be the fair expectation of where rates are going to be trending moving forward, not the expectation that interest rates should be back down to, I would call them emergency level type of interest rates.
Right. So everybody, so just finalize on this one, okay? That everybody who thinks that the rates are going to be a lot lower eventually, please stop thinking that. So when people tell me, you know what, I'm going to take a 2-year fixed, or I'm going to take a 3-year fixed, my reaction to that is, don't fucking do that, okay? You either take variable, which we know is going to come down.
Yep.
I'm only talking about the next 6, 7, 8 months we know. We don't know after that. We just don't know.
I would say, and we've talked about this numerous times, don't pick the popular product because everyone else is just doing it.
So true.
I told you about my business partner sending, we always send each other like funny clips and stuff to relate to. And there's this Bugs Bunny clip and they're in the theater and it says intermission and all the people run out. And then he flips it down Bugs Bunny and it's theater back on. All the people run in and they're running back out and they're running back in. Same thing when it comes to interest rates. We find over and over again, because we are so inundated with technology and social media and it's in your face and the algorithms on your phone, people will tend to go with the trends. The trends are not the one size fits all for your mortgage. No. And I would almost say to you, Ron, maybe in some circumstances a 2-year would make sense. Maybe.
Well, if you're going to sell the house in 2 years and move to another country,
maybe you need stability of payments. Maybe you just
hold on.
like,
my position is always the same on this stuff. You're either in offense or in defense. So if you want to take, there isn't a risk associated with taking a variable. I think it's an extremely low risk today.
Right.
If you took a variable, but the concept is always to eventually lock into a fixed below 4%.
Absolutely.
That's always the concept. So it's just variable because we know it's going down and it gives you time to wait it out and get to the right point. But folks, if there's a 3.89 5-year fixed available, fucking take it. Okay, just fucking take it, because it doesn't make any sense. Oh, look, I think it's going to be much better in 2 years.
Maybe.
Well, like I
maybe not.
I'm going to say it out loud. I believe I am a kind of a fucking expert at this. Okay, and I can't see past 8 months,
nor
7
can
months, nor can you. You've been doing it 30 years, and so everybody says, "Well, I think it's going to be lower in 2 years." What the fuck do you know? Okay, you know nothing. If you were selling your house in month 25, fine, I'm good with that, but. No, I came right out and said it to the whole world. Folks, the average person knows sweet fuck all about mortgage rates. That's the truth, okay? So listen, it's just the truth. We know variables coming down. You want to do that. It makes some sense. Your idea is to lock into a 5-year fixed, because 5 years is defense. You can just forget about it for 5 years, right? That's it, okay? And we talked about normalized rates. That's a normalized rate, right?
That is a normalized interest rate. Listen, this is a strategy that I always say to anyone that I talk to when it comes to interest rates and what to decide, whether it be my agents helping them or clientele that I still service or talking in the public. Mm-hmm. The right choice is the choice that you're not going to sit there in 6 months' time, regret your decision. How would you feel if interest rates don't go down? How would you feel if interest rates do go down? And how would you feel if interest rates go up? Which one of those give you the most adverse emotional reaction? Like actually close your eyes and feel it. Mm-hmm. Whichever one gives you the most comfort at night, that's the one to go to. Because the reality is, Ron, and you tell me if this is a fair statement, we talk to customers all the time. And if I have a customer calling them up and they're midterm and I say to them, what's your rate? What is the number one thing they typically say? I don't know.
Not sure.
Not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's fixed or variable.
Yeah.
I think maybe
it's fixed.
It's
It's
fixed.
fixed. So all right. Look, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm beating up on borrowers. I don't want to.
It's not beating up. It's just not something that. Listen, the human mind can only hold so much information, and we're all busy people.
Right.
It's not that consumers don't know what they're doing. We're not trying to belittle them. It's just you are busy.
Sometimes I belittle them, but anyway, go ahead.
I don't. You are busy. Lean into the people that are experts. Ask questions and don't fall into. We talked about this on lunch, and the biggest problem today with technology and social media is people fall into the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is that you absorb so much information that you deem yourself being an expert without actually sitting back and looking at that information and saying, is this valid? Is this valid to me? And what kind of context should I be taking this information on?
Yeah, so the way I like to look at it is a lot of people just tell me that, particularly because of the total fucking disaster people went through who took a 1.45 variable and it went to 6+. Okay,
because rates are never going up, right, Ron? You remember that?
Yeah. A total fucking disaster, and people feel very bad about it. So they say, "Well, I don't, I'm swearing off variable forever." Okay, but just realize something, that this interest rate world is not emotional. It's not. It's not about how you feel about anything. It's just about balance of probabilities. So today, the balance of probabilities, the highest possible chance, based on every bit of market analysis, is that the Canadian bank rate will come down. The Bank of Canada rate will come down. Therefore, variable will come down. And there is probably going to be a little bit, maybe another 50 or 60 basis points of room on, maybe 70, but maybe not, of further downward movement on bond yields. But not guaranteed, However, balance of probabilities. After that, the truth is none of us know fuck all after about 6 or 8 months.
Ron, I totally agree, and I think that's beautifully said. Imagine that people took that same sort of logic in the balance of probabilities when we were in the low interest rate of variable rates, where certain brokers out there were saying variable is always the way to go, and there's no risk associated with it, whatever. How many people really took a step back and said, well, actually, probability is we're at emergency levels. We won't be in the pandemic forever. Rates will normalize again. So likely you're going to see a shift. I don't think anyone anticipated inflation going up that high in interest rates.
I'll be honest,
but there was a probability rates would normalize.
After the very first, sure, but after the very first, I guess I also want to put this out there. After the very first Bank of Canada rate increases, inflation really started to soar. My advice to everyone was, I don't think it's going to go past about another 2.5%. So that's a Bank of Canada rate around 3 or just below 3. Well, I was so fucking wrong. By the way, literally everyone was wrong.
Of course everyone was wrong.
The best bet was a 4. The most wildest outlier economist at a bank said, I think it'll get to 4. Everybody, the entire economic world of Canada told him he was fucking nuts. Okay, it will never get to 4. You're crazy. It got to 5, obviously.
Right.
So I've been dead fucking wrong about these things. But in this thing, it's just analysis. It's just balance of probabilities. And here's what I say to everybody who tells me, I just don't feel comfortable with it. The truth is that today, a lot of us like to believe that we've got to be in touch with our feelings. And then, I got to go with my gut and I hear all this stuff. But listen, there is such a thing as analysis. And we only try to analyze a short period of time out. We're not trying to say what's going to happen in a year or 2 years. That's stupid. Okay. But will it be lower in 6 months? Yes. Will there be an opportunity to lock into a slightly lower 5-year rate? Because we see rates being offered at 4.49, 5-year fixed at 4.49, right? That's not the best offer, and still we have a bit of high ratio that's still kicking around at like 3.99, 4.09. Sure, that's good.
Right.
But there is such a strong probability that it'll get to 3.89, and we know the variable will fall. So why not do it? I know there's a bunch of people saying I'm crazy, but we're just going to sit back.
It's not that you're not.
Oh, Fran, you missed this. I got to tell you.
Okay, tell me.
I was on a panel at the broker thing, and there was a guy beside me who said, "Yeah, it's possible. He said it's possible that rates will, 5-year rates will never go below, 4%, and therefore it would be prudent to lock. And I said, okay, tell you what, I'll bet you $10,000 we'll have a 3.89 rate at some point.
Was this recorded?
Sure, it's recorded.
Amazing.
That we will have, we will have a 5-year 3.89 conventional mortgage rate at some point in 2025. I'll bet you $10,000. You put $10,000 in an account, I'll put $10,000 in an account. We'll have the bet. If it's published, if we either of us see one rate from a major financial institution, conventional 5-year fixed, 3.89, we see it, we get a commitment for it. But if the whole year goes by and we don't see it, you win. But if the first time we see a commitment, conventional 5-year, I win. He said, "Well, I'll bet you $50."
So he wasn't so hard on that hypothesis then, right? Wasn't so convinced himself.
His level of conviction was not high.
Listen, Ron, I'm in complete agreement with you. The way that I believe, again, probability, again, we can't say this for certain in analyzing interest rates. I do believe by mid-2025, if all things go as I expect them to go, you will see 5-year interest rates in that range. But at the end of the day, I always say this to consumers. I know you just said I don't believe in the feely, fuzzy intuition. I do when I advise clients. Right. I want whatever you're comfortable with. Here's the pros and cons in each. Let's talk this through. Which one is making you feel the best that you're just going to have to, because most clients set it and forget it. Cool, then just go with that. Don't worry about it. You're happy, and away you go.
Remember, folks in the audience, I'm the mean guy. It's called angry fucking mortgage for a reason.
I know.
Right? All right. So we got on the topic. We kind of drifted away. We got on the topic of how different things were 30 years ago when we were in the business. And
yes.
I would say that the biggest difference that I would say today is, and there's so many, and of course, I won't even go back to that it only took 6 pieces of paper to get a mortgage closed, but that's silly. But here's something that's very important.
Carbon copies.
All that. Here's something that's really important for today.
Yeah.
In 2016, when B20 came in, then followed by B21 and everything else, banks ability to lend in certain situations just radically changed.
Right.
So you had a great story about what could happen when you were working directly with the Bank of Montreal, and what could happen when the right customer wanted a mortgage? Oh,
I mean, back in the heyday, two different stories. Back in the heyday when the housing market was stable, lending was flowing, right? I call it the roaring 20s of lendings, in the 2000s. Yep. You had clients that would come in, and if they fit the profile, existing Bank of Montreal client, you could see some products there, excellent credit scores, stable jobs, as you call it, employment. You had systems there. Those that remember, they could
even be self-employed, right?
They could be self-employed as well. Yes. The systems, the computer system in the day, which was called CCAPS, would do automatic, we call ALD, automatic loan decisioning. You get an automatic approval at certain credit limits, certain parameters. The bank would adjust that according to it. And you get approvals that'd be like approved. All you need to confirm is an NOA to confirm no taxes owing.
So listen to that for a second, folks. Okay. This is to 80% loan to value.
This is 80% loan to value.
So for 20% down payment, someone could walk into a bank if they were that great bank customer, proven track record. The bank had a lot of history with them, great FICO scores, multiple products, got some money in their accounts, got investments. That's basically no fucking questions asked, right?
No questions asked.
Just prove to us that if you're self-employed, just prove you don't owe Revenue Canada, CRA. It was Revenue Canada back then, CRA
Yes.
Just prove you don't owe them any money.
Right.
So, folks, take my word for it. Flash forward, 2024. Fuck that. You're not getting anything.
Yeah. And you and I talked about this. I would not be surprised if the housing market doesn't correct itself. There's more issues. You and I doing this for 30 years, we've seen the ebb and flow. We've seen things tighten up over the years. We've seen things expand. We've seen 100% amortization. We haven't
seen much expansion lately.
No, you haven't. Yeah. But we've seen 100% financing, 40-year AMS that was around for a couple of months. And they're like, this is probably not good that we do this. You've seen stuff like automatic loan decisioning there where I need the NOA. I mean, you can go as far back that you and I talked about this. We used to, those that are in the lending community, brokers understand this. What you would do in the B space now, like cash flow analysis and statement, you could do that in the A space.
In the prime banking
In the
space,
prime banking space, justify the client's cash flow by bank statements. Do I see an evolution in lending moving forward? Absolutely. If the market share is not out there and there needs to be more flexibility and there isn't the risk that's there, you may see some adjustments that are a bit more lenient, or the opposite could happen and things could tighten up. But there's, I guess, always expect change to happen in the lending world. It is not linear. It's going to ebb and flow according to the market conditions.
But to me, maybe the most interesting thing is when we talk about bank defaults, 90-day defaults.
Yep.
They're still phenomenally low in Canada after a difficult economic period, a difficult period for mortgages.
Of course they're low because people are refinancing out into private mortgages, but still, Ron. That's why. Well, we talked about that too.
I was getting there. So because we're still at 22 basis points, 22 beeps.
0.22.
It'll go up a little, but hey, why is it still so low? To your point, private lending has exploded.
Of course it has.
Exploded since 2016. It's a huge part of the market now. It's a relief valve to the banks. But I say this constantly. From 2016 onward, the banks have access to what is really their mortgage book are super select borrowers.
Yes.
Since 2016. They are the creme de la creme of borrowers.
And even a little bit before that, I would say ever since securitization, that's where you've seen slowly the ratcheting of being selective of the type of borrowers that you want it.
Now, we can spend an hour on the mortgage document fraud part of this piece.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's a whole new show. By the way, there was that interesting pickup in house sales in Ontario last month in October.
Year over year.
Year over year, it was quite a jump. It was like 45% jump year over year, coming off of 2023, which is we have a technical.
You saw my face. If you cut that,
but we have a technical name for 2023. That was a shit year.
Right.
Okay, yeah, it was a shit year.
So if you go to a shit year and you got a little bit of sales going on, all of a sudden, of course, it's going to be 45%. It's going to look, oh my God, things are absolutely phenomenal.
Right, because at the end of the day, there is always going to be a need to trade in houses. There's always going to be a need to buy and sell houses. Things happen in people's lives that require it to happen, and that's just the way it is. But obviously, what we're seeing here is the lower Bank of Canada rate is finally starting to kick in and push up.
Psychological.
It's just but it took a while, right?
Yep.
We expected it sooner.
Yep.
We expected it when the first couple cuts came in. It took more time than we thought.
You expected it. I'll tell you, I didn't expect it.
You didn't expect it?
Not at all.
No, I think it's going to be tempered. I believe it's going to be tempered by how bad the economy is next year.
Right, and that's going to be tempered by how many more layoffs we're going to see between now and the end of the year.
Absolutely true.
And beginning of 2025.
Absolutely true. So even though that's a positive for the real estate industry, that it was literally got up off a mat, like it was just unconscious, the real estate world for a while there. Because let's you face it, folks. If you're running 23-year lows in unit sales when you got 3 million extra people, that's fucked up.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a problem there.
There's a problem there. So it's a good bump, but off a terrible base. So what can I tell you? Also another horrible, I use the word horrible because I know what the future is going to bear. The government of Ontario, because I'm getting a little more focused on Ontario than the federal government, right?
Right.
I think the federal government thing is sort of, in its own strange way, almost settled. There's going to be an election, and there's going to be a new government. That's exactly
very, very, very likely.
Very likely.
Correct.
So I'm going to be a little more focused on provincial because there's some fuckery going on there too. Okay, that's for sure. All right, so we've got a constant refrain. We got the famous Minister of Finance in Ottawa keeps saying there's going to be 3.5 million, 4 million new homes by 2032, which is completely fucking impossible. But we also have the Finance Minister of Ontario, Peter Bethlenfalvy. Go say that name. Come on, I challenge you. Anyway, but let's just stick with Doug Ford. That's a lot easier. 2 syllables. That's a lot easier to work with. that have declared that there will be 1.5 million new homes built in Ontario by 2032. So in their own fall economic statement last week, they said, oh, something, I don't know, look at this. We project there will only be 100,000 housing starts in Ontario in 2025. Oh, wait, there's more. It's like ShamWow. There's more. It's only going to be 100,000 in 2026.
Are there going to be dog crates in the sky, like you like to call them? Is that what we're building?
They're just going to keep getting finished. But the crazy thing is, this is so fucked up. 100,000 starts. You are never going to get to 1.5 million. Never. If you start to do the math,
listen. It's impossible on so many different levels. I mean, like, funding for builders right now is almost next to impossible to obtain.
Very hard, yeah.
Very, very hard for, like, I have a few clients that I'm working with right now that are builders. Very, very difficult to find money. It's like literally looking for like a 4-leaf clover in a field of grass. Okay. Because every lender, like, you're predominantly like, forget the banks. They don't even want to look at it because of the risk. You have to then go to these like VC private mix or whatever. And they are so scared to even invest in that right now. Yeah. So, how are these builders even going to get funding to build those things? Number one, where are the tradespeople to build these properties?
Well, if you go down to 50,000 starts, there'll be lots of tradespeople to handle that.
I guess, right? But you know what? It's a sexy statement. That's what I believe. It's really, really sexy for the government to say it. Like we were joking before we started to go on air here. It's like that song, it's provocative. No one knows what it means. Like, they might as well say 2 million. Like, just call it we're just going to build lots of houses.
It's a random fucking number. That's for sure. So look, 100,000. Here's one other aspect of saying 100,000. More than half of that could be rentals and subsidized housing.
Right.
So what's really, could you buy 35,000?
But that's the thing, though. With these numbers, they're not necessarily, you got to remember, they're not talking about building properties for people to purchase.
Yes.
They're talking about building properties for people to live in, which could technically be rentals. Right now, a lot of the government programs with CMHC is very rental purpose building friendly, as opposed to developers selling to the consumer on the other end of things. Right?
100% true. But although it really makes me sit back and think that the low rise, the single family, the duplex, the semi, the freehold townhouse, that is becoming such a scarce fucking product, the new ones, right? Mm-hmm. So if you create something that's scarce, Economics 101 tells us that eventually that price will start to rise.
Of course.
Now, we expect, we know there's this condo crash going on in Toronto, but on the other side of it, we may be creating an environment where there's no new builds of single family. So that product becomes so fucking scarce and rare that price just keeps getting driven up.
Right.
Which is fucked up. Okay, we're trying to house families so we can get a birth rate off of 0. Okay, like
I totally agree, Ron. I mean, the type of inventory that you're seeing being built out there is not conducive for people to have families to live in.
100%.
It's not.
100%. So here's a shout out to the Ontario government. Quit fucking saying the 1.5 million. It's starting to piss me off.
Pick another number that's more real. Pick a number that's realistic.
Pick any kind of different
Just say
number.
We're going to build lots of houses. Yeah, Don't even say a number.
Or
just
say we hope to build lots of houses. Or
just
whatever the fuck.
Leave it at that, right? Lots of houses. That's fine.
You know what? This also, we talked a little bit too about Burr. Okay, which is. Burr is BRRR, so it's buy, renovate, rent, refinance, rinse, repeat. Okay, so it's a lot of bars. Okay, that thing that has gone on and was so strong for so long, like really had almost a 14-year run.
Right.
Okay, and got bigger and bigger near the end. And now once we hit this condo crash and we hit this impossibility of getting new financing to build. Like, I know some of those Burr places that just can't get finished. And those people are fucking stuck.
Right.
Okay, so it's turned into something that's not so good. I'm just hoping that these lower interest rates and this little bit of market activity won't cause the Burr gurus, like the people who do it for a living, not flip for a living, but teach people how to do it for a living. God forgive them, but that they will get going again. Please, folks.
The Tom Voos of the current modern generation.
Yes.
Come to my seminar.
Come to my seminar.
Come
to my seminar. We're going to do Burr. Okay. So yeah, please, let's not do that. Please. Like, it's not the right time. So please, I beg you people out there listening, it's not the time.
Listen,
not the time.
If you know what you're doing, if you've done your research, if you're realistic on your budget, your expectations.
If you're a contractor, if you're a tradesperson, okay?
But that's what I mean. If you're realistic, absolutely. If you're getting into this because you've done a ton of your own research online and watched these Instagram
and
influencers
gone to the seminar,
and gone to the seminar where they charge you a fee to get in there and then charge you another fee to pay for a course, you should actually maybe start to ask legit hard questions of, does this make sense for me to do this? And also there's a risk associated with that.
Please,
can I take the risk that's associated with this?
Understand the risk. Holy fuck, particularly today.
Dunning-Kruger effect. I keep saying this.
There you go. So we're now at our favorite part of the program.
Okay.
Which is? You're supposed to say what the favorite part of the program is.
Fuck, I forget. But see, I kind of tied it in. It's
what
when you saw actual fuck.
What the actual fuck? Yeah,
I know. So I got a surprise for you today.
Go ahead.
Which you can't tell.
All
kind
right.
of. Okay.
Well, we're on the air, right?
I know we're on the air.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, then you can go on YouTube and you can see
go on
the
YouTube.
segment.
There's lots of.
I know. But see what I got under my shirt? You see this? I wore this for you today.
Swearing helps.
Swearing helps.
Fucking helps everything.
It fucking helps everything. So this. Okay. Quick plug. One of my favorite humans that are out there, Dr. Robin Henley Defoe.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote a book, Stress Wisely. She has these t-shirts, so shameless plug to her. Love her. But she has actually said scientifically, there have been studies. Did you know this?
I do know this.
If you swear, you are usually more.
I live by this.
You live by this. You're
Yes.
usually highly more intelligent, and
I don't know about that.
And it relieves stress.
It does relieve stress.
It does.
People are happier when they swear, believe it or not. It's
Swearing
true.
helps.
Swearing helps.
Okay, so what the actual fuck are we talking about now?
We got booze in Costco.
I know. You know what, Ron? I told you this earlier. I gave up. I'm one of the weirdos out there. I gave up my Costco membership 8 years ago.
Oh, it's hard for me.
Do you know what it is? I have to say, shamelessly, I would go in. I would be like those memes where I'd come out.
We all overbought.
Yeah,
Yes,
I go in for
overbought.
eggs and a chicken, and I come out, and how the hell's my bill? Like fucking $600 not doing it, and my kids are not going to eat 100 granola bars. And
I
I'm
need
going to throw
paper
them
towels.
out.
I got a diamond ring. I mean, and the paper towels.
Exactly.
Okay? Like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
But
It's all true.
booze
all
in
true, all true.
Costco, I don't have a problem with it.
Here's the thing about booze in Costco. The Kirkland stuff
Yes.
is not yet approved. It's got to work its way through LCBO. We don't know if it'll work. We don't know if LCBO will approve it. But here's the idea.
Right.
Massive jug of rum for like a reasonable price, right? Is that now why say what the actual fuck? I never thought I'd see this in my day because I'm an old man, and I remember a day when you used to have to go into a store and write your fucking booze order on a piece of paper.
Of course,
and somebody would go
that's
in the
why
back
that's why it's called the Liquor Control Board of Ontario,
Exactly,
LCBO.
Liquor Control Board. So now we're going 180. We're gonna have jugs of booze. We're gonna have gallon of booze. Okay, so but hold on, like here, I'm of two minds.
Okay,
I'm not crazy about the idea that everybody's gonna be drinking a jug of booze. Number one, I'm not that crazy about it. I'm like, if we're honest, if we're really honest,
yeah.
No drug has done more harm to society than alcohol. I'm not giving it up. I like my wine, 100%, all true.
Hey, listen, you might cut this out.
Like
My dad died of failure of the liver, and he was an alcoholic. So yes, it does cause a lot of harm.
Cause a lot of grief in this country. But on the other side of that argument, if it's as popular as it is, let's get some decent fucking pricing going, for fuck's sakes. Okay, let's do that.
Hey, listen, I guess it's a double-edged sword. On one side of it, yes, anything to save you money. Drink if you're going to drink responsibly. Sure. I love my wine.
Yep.
Do I drink excessively? Hell no. I've cut down my consumption over the years, I guess, also knowing my family background. But I do love having a nice cocktail every once in a while.
Me too.
And
Absolutely.
if I could save the cost, I hate going out to a restaurant where I know that bottle of wine, the glass of wine that I'm buying for $25, I can actually go to the LCBO and buy the bottle.
Buy the whole bottle for $25.
For $25 drives me crazy. And now further, if I can go into another establishment where it's price competitive and I could save more money, then I'm all for it. I find it hyper convenient that they're doing this now during hard economic times. It makes me wonder, do they want everyone to drink and just forget there's problems?
Doug Ford's plan: be drunk and vote for me. That's it. So
be drunk and don't pay attention to what's happening. Nothing to see here.
Fran, thank you. You're one of my favorite guests. I have a number of favorites. You're one of my favorites. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Ron. I always love coming here. And sorry I punched you out before the show, but we wore magic glasses.
Don't go there again. All right, we're out, folks. See you next week.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.